It's always a great feeling when you're able to trap a premium piece in a chess match, and today we're going to be looking at a game that my buddy Artem sent me where he was able to pull off a very nice queen trap. Artem is one of my buddies who is very good at chess. He's a 735 rated player in Blitz, and so today we're going to have a look at this game. We're going to look at the trap that he set up. We're going to look at some of the mistakes made by both players, and by the end of this, we should have enjoyed a very fun game of Blitz chess. So we're going to start off with Artem using the Vienna opening. Artem is actually the person who showed me the Vienna opening. He's the one who got me onto it. I really like it. He knows a lot of the opening lines for it. And so here even, this is such a nice little move to kind of counter the Caro-Kann. I really like this because you still get to close off the position and have some center board control while also kind of clearing out some of the pawns on the queen side of black. So I really like this opening from him. He ends up, his opponent ends up bringing out both of the knights. Now everything is looking pretty standard for a game of chess. After this, Artem decides to pin this knight to the king. That's a good move. Also, you will see I'm using the game review. I just think it's worth it so we can have a look at good moves versus bad moves as opposed to my dumb brain trying to figure out what a good and bad move is because I'm not very good at chess. So he comes out, counterattack, pinning the knight to the queen. Artem decides to castle. This is the best move in this position, and his opponent is now just kind of filling out that pawn structure to the middle of the board. Artem decides to try and kick this bishop, and the bishop decides it's his time to shine. He's going to go kamikaze mode and get taken by that queen. Now, for some reason, this is excellent. A better move would be to put the king into check, losing that bishop, and then taking. I don't know exactly what the engine's thought process is on that, but he does kind of get rid of that bishop threat. He's now getting threatened to be kicked, and he just takes the knight. This is going to force the other pawn to kind of scoot away, really opening the queen side of the board up, and that's pretty good. This is all things so far are keeping it pretty even, as you can tell by the evaluation bar. Queen is moving over here. His queen, black queen, is going to move out. This is a little bit of an inaccuracy. This gives away a free pawn to the queen, and we do see the queen find that best move, taking a free piece, kind of capitalizing on Artem leaving it hanging. This pawn moves up now, which is the initiation of the chess trap. So if we have a look at what's actually happening here, before this position is open, you could see where, maybe you want to jump. Actually, you wouldn't want to jump up here at all. That's a horrible idea. I was just looking at a piece that was further in the middle of the board. Don't do that. Very bad idea. You might think I could bring the queen over here, then do something like this, putting some pressure on the rook. You might think, maybe doubling this up, maybe putting some pressure on the queen here. But opening up this pawn, you just invite the queen to eat up this very juicy looking rook, right? That's like, oh my goodness, this guy is blundering this, but this is actually the best move in the position because now when the queen does take in this bottom corner, the next move here from Artem is it's saying that this is a miss according to the engine because there's only one good move here and you should have moved your queen up, but the queen is now completely trapped, right? If the queen takes here, he's going to die to the knight. If the queen takes here, which is going to happen right away, you're going to see what happens. He takes it. This is best. Okay, very good. Now the rook comes over, and there is a zero place for the queen to go. So the queen, if he takes, is taken by the bishop. If he takes the bishop, he is taken by the knight. If he takes the pawn, he's taken by the pawn. If he moves up, he is taken. If he takes, he's taken. There's nowhere for the queen to go. This is such a cool trap. I would encourage any of you to who have an opportunity to try to pull this off, do so. You need the queen to be on d4. You need your knight to be on a4, and all you need is for the queen to move to this position with a hanging pawn. You could even do this with maybe the pawn or one of the other knights. Something like that would be kind of interesting. Then you move your pawn up, inviting him to take this, lock him in there with the dark squared bishop, and the rest is history. You now have a trapped queen. Anyways, I thought that was super cool. I just wanted to showcase this and kind of really focus on it for this part of the video because any of these traps that you can find that don't rely heavily on opening theory, but can be happy accidents, I think are super valuable to have in your tool belt as a chess player. So from this position, the knight comes out here, putting a bit of a threat on the queen. Queen moves over. This is a mistake. Probably should have moved up here. This is the move that I've kind of been seeing for the past few moves, the past few turns. Bit of a mistake. Queen moves down and takes. Artem takes back the queen. We are now, even still after taking that queen, at a material disadvantage, but you do have the queen, right? You've lost both of your rooks. That's not incredible. You hopefully in that position, I mean, it makes sense that the queen takes the rook. It's the most valuable piece, but there might be a time where you're like, well, who really cares? I'm able to do that. Maybe even getting another piece down here. I don't know what I'm saying. That's really, really dumb. I was gonna be like, you could just get another piece in A1. That's not how chess works. There's like one other piece that can get into A1, and it's this bishop after it takes. Anyways, I let my mind wander there, and I probably shouldn't have. I should just look at the chessboard and explain what's happening. So after black decides to move his bishop to d6, Artem now has an opportunity to take a free pawn on the opposite side of the board and put some pressure on the rook on h8. Okay, this is another really good move. Really nice to see this in a blitz game. I mean, something like this, it's difficult to see those diagonals across the entirety of the board, but Artem finds that. Pressure obviously coming back on him, and so Artem decides to move back. And this is an inaccuracy. The first time I saw this game, I was like, yeah, you could have probably just moved queen over here. If he had moved his queen over here, now the rook is not going to take, and if the queen takes this pawn for free, you now have a fork. I mean, this pawn is protecting the knight, but you're kind of threatening it. You're peacocking that you've got a fork. If something happens with this pawn, you now also have a line on the knight. So this was an inaccuracy, moving the bishop back. That's okay. This bishop moves up. Again, these are all fine moves. And now that this pawn moves up, I think I called this a bishop. After this pawn moves up, you've kind of gotten back into this position of, ooh, we've got some fun stuff happening. We can take here. If rook moves over, we take here. There's going to be a threat on this bishop if the pawn is taken by the queen. And exactly this happens where now Artem is going to have a fork on the king and another rook. And he ends up finding these little forks, these little tactics in a blitz game. It is a testament to you being a good player when it comes to chess. So I'm proud of you, Artem. Good job. I know him hitting 700 elo was something he was pretty excited about. The king moves out of check. Artem does not take the rook immediately. He ends up putting him into check, which is very interesting. I actually really like this move from Artem because he is threatening that if the king moves back down, he's going to put him into check again and take the rook. Now he has to move here. It's not forced, he can still move down, but if he does move down, he's just getting put back into check again. So the king doing what he does, moves out of the way, this rook is taken. Now Artem is at a material advantage for the first time in this game, and it's feeling pretty good. This rook takes the dark square bishop. Of course, it's a free piece for the taking, trying to even some stuff up on the material side of the world. The queen puts the king back into check. The king moves away. Queen moves down here now, and this is not a mistake, but there were other good moves to be made according to the engine. Moving back to A8. I'm not 100% sure what the theory behind this is. Oh, we don't want to do that. We want to see here. Oh, it's not even going to show us on the game review what could have been done with the queen, but this is the follow-up that black could have participated in, and it's not, this doesn't happen. We don't need to worry about that, but the engine is saying moving back to A8 would have been a better move, not a good move. Rook moves over. This is, again, not a bad move, but an okay move. Queen is now moving up to put a threat onto the knight. Knight decides to move up instead of down. So the knight moving down would have been nice because you're obviously protecting it with the rook. So it can kind of just live here and sit here. Even though the king is not going to be putting pressure on it, it is getting backed up by the rook. So that feels pretty good. He moves over here. This is not the best play according to the engine though. Putting the king back into check forces him to move down. Knight moves up over here. Knight could have moved over here, which I actually personally would have liked better in this position. Artem probably would have found it if this wasn't a blitz game, but you're obviously being protected by the queen. If he takes, you take. That's a nice even trade of material. You're fighting against a rook and a knight with your queen, and you're even on pawns. I believe they're even on pawns. Yeah, so that's kind of a no-brainer if you're able to do that trade, but this is giving you a line on kind of a few different areas, especially here, putting him into check, forcing the knight to take and do another trade, and then immediately put pressure on the bishop. The king ends up retreating, so that doesn't become something that's possible. Queen moves down, taking a free pawn. His knight moves over to h5. I don't really see what the purpose of this move was, but he's setting something up, or at least he's trying to set something up. King is put back into check one more time. Knight just moves back to the position he was before. These pawns are going to start marching up, adding some extra pressure in a way that I'm sure black isn't very excited about. Pawn moves down. Knight, now putting the knight in a weird position where he's locked in. He cannot move. Bishop moves over here to now defend the knight if it's taken and threatening the queen, but he's still locked in here, so there's really no reason for Artem to make this sacrifice and pressure, and he doesn't do it. He doesn't fall for it. He's now having a look at the rook, which is in a really not good spot. He has literally two moves, both of which are kind of disengaging him from protecting the king. He moves over, that's fine. Now the pawn does have a fork on the rook and the knight. Rook moves all the way back. Knight is taken here. Now this is also interesting because Artem's knight is kind of getting blocked, right? Doesn't feel very good for Artem, but all he's gonna do is move up. Now he's protecting the knight without having to keep the queen there. Pawn moves down, queen moves up here. If queen is able to get here, that's going to be a really nice check and a fork. But the rook moves over, giving some extra defense to the pawn. Engine is saying that his bishop should have taken, putting a fork on here, but then this take happens, and I don't love that. Sometimes when you look at the engine's moves, the suggestions in the game review, my dumb peanut brain cannot for the life of me understand why those are better moves than the good moves or the excellent moves or the best moves. If anybody can figure that out and let me know, I would appreciate it. So he's putting some pressure back on the rook. Rook moves over. The rook didn't need to move over. In this position, this player could have actually just moved the king down. He could have moved this pawn up. Those are probably better options. I mean, honestly, even moving where was this guy? He was protecting this. Even moving here is good. Like, the queen is not taking this, right? If the queen takes, it gets taken by the king. So there's no reason to move the rook out of the way here. At least I don't think so. It actually said that the best move was to move the king back down on the G file. So there we go. Putting some pressure on the dark bishop. The rook decides to retreat even further. Bishop is now taken. King takes, which is a good move. And this position here is where the game is basically closing out. There's only 1.8 seconds left for Liam J. And Artem has 5 seconds left. So the game is coming to an end, but this is a great sight, great visual sight line of the pawn and putting the king into check with the queen. He moves over. He's able to now, it's actually a skewer on the rook in the back corner. And now it's basically just cleanup time. And the timeout runs, but this game was absolutely over with the passed pawns on the B file, passed pawn on the H file. If just a few more seconds, Artem was handily going to be winning this game by promoting to a queen or a rook or whatever he wanted to. So this was a super fun game to review. Thank you, Artem, for sending it to me and letting me make a video out of it. I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed watching someone better than me play chess on the channel today. Hopefully my analysis and commentary was at the very least entertaining for you. I tried to point out some of the cool things that I saw, and I obviously made a few mistakes, but I'm just some idiot on the internet having fun making chess content. If you are new to the channel, you enjoy the vibe here, you like the style, definitely subscribe. I upload a new chess video here every single day. With that out of the way, I love you, I appreciate you, you look great today. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.